It is the first episode of year 16 here in Jaen, and it's also the first episode of the last season here in Jaen. And we've done something this off-season that I've rarely done to this extent. We spent a ton of money. It's not that we didn't have it, it's just that I've always been averse to spending it. We've never really needed to, but I really want to win the Champions League. My question is, did the players I buy, are they going to contribute to that? Well, let's take a look and find out. My name's FM20. It's time to get real. It's not that we spent 324 million euros on players. It's that we spent 324 million euros on 4 players. And frankly, they're all youngsters. But they're really good youngsters, and they have a lot of potential in front of them and a big future in front of them. The question is, are they going to contribute today? I'm still beholden to not signing players over the age of 30, and frankly, I didn't see any players out there that it's odd to explain. I'm still in this mindset of, if I'm going to sign a player, even though this is our last year officially in Jaen, I'm going to do what I always do, and that's after I resign, sim 5 and 10 years ahead to see how things turn out. I don't want to leave the team in the lurch. You know, and if they end up turning around and selling these players off and they get a decent amount of money for them in return, then that's fine. But this year, I'm hoping they contribute. The first up is Aldo Pisano, who we looked at last season. My scouts found him. He was at Roma. He is a 3-star current, 5-star potential striker. He's on a squad player contract right now, but he's going to get a ton of playing time this season. I need to have a better rotation going up top with my strikers. Maria and Roberto are both good. Verdonk can play over there. Oosterley can play up there. But I need someone like Pisano to come off the bench and play either position. The nice thing I like about him is if you look up here, he prefers to be on the left, which means he can come in for Maria, Roberto can switch over, and he can take the spot on the left. Physically, he is really, really good. Technically, he is very, very good. 15 dribbling, 13 finishing, 14 first touch, 17 technique. Those are only going to go higher, especially as he gets older. He still has 3 or 4 more years worth of development. Mentally, he's solid across the board. I can't complain about any of that, really. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe the 8 Braver is a little bit on the low side, but, you know, it's not a 6 or lower, and I'm okay with that. I found him last season. I asked Roma what they wanted for him. Or initially, they wanted like 100 and something million, and I came back and was like, no. And we did the whole thing where it's like, well, I'll give you 75. And they came back and said, well, what about 120? And it was one of those cases where I said, well, how about I pay you 98? What is it, 98 right now? And, 98 right now, and I'll add on some international incentives, and that'll get you up to 120. They were happy to do that. Next up, Ilya Gerasimov from Zenit, a winger. And he can also play defensive right back as well. 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, also 19 years old. One of the reasons I signed him was that he is 3-star current ability. He can also play defensive right back really well, but he is going to be my advanced midfielder on the right between him and Kleber. He had a solid season last year for Zenit. 17 appearances, he had 5 goals, 4 assists, and a player of the match. Physically, he can run all day. Mentally, he's very, very good. Technically, he's very, very good, and he's only going to get better in a lot of those areas. He's got an 18 crossing already, 16 dribbling, 16 passing, 15 technique. If he doesn't get double-digit assists this year, even though he's only, quote-unquote, a part-time starter, I would be really, really surprised. When he's not going to be playing forward, when he's not going to be playing winger, he will be playing defensive right back. Now, granted, he's not the best at that. I think his tackling is like a 6, but he should do really well. Stefan Pereira comes to us from Lille for 60 million euros, going up to 65. He's my advanced midfielder on the left. You'll see here in a minute, but Barry Redonk has moved on. I need a replacement for him. I still think Thunison is the future, but Pereira, who comes to us from Lille, was transfer listed by request, and frankly, the money for him they were looking for was not all that outrageous. 60 million euros, especially with our budget, is a good deal for a player of this caliber. 4.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. He's 24 years old, physically really, really gifted, mentally very, very good, technically also very, very good. 16 corners, 15 crossing, 15 dribbling, 15 first touch, 18 technique, 15 passing. He should come in and replace Verdonk without any issues. He's had a couple of very good seasons at Lille. 2 seasons ago, he had 11 goals and 10 assists. The season before this one, he had 6 goals and 11 assists. I would expect double-digit assists out of him. And then last, but certainly not least, Psycho Barbosa. I wanted to try and get through this season without any loan players. Psycho Barbosa popped up on a scouting report last year. He's 21 years old. He's 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Ignore the down arrows. It's FM being FM. He's literally gone down like 0.1 in all those categories. And it's because I just tweaked his training, and for whatever reason, FM doesn't like that. So he's a natural ball-playing defender in the center. He will be part of the center defensive back rotation. And I would fully expect by the end of the season, he will definitely be up there in terms of 3, maybe 3.5-star potential abilities. The other thing I like about him, and this is what I want us to pay attention to this season. So if you look at him, I guess they're not going to have it on this particular skin. That's a bit of a bummer. But there should be a way you can go back and, like, if you click on the player and you click on the season down here, it should update with what they've done in their career, and you should be able to find their yellow cards. Like, he has 2 yellow cards for us this season already. Yeah, it's not going to be on this skin. That is okay. But these 4 players are going to be the core of the team going forward, so my successor should be well prepared. On the outs, we've sold 141 million euros worth of players. We've had quite a few go out on loan as well. Connor McClenahan, Juan Luis Blanco, both went to Recreativo on loan. Jad Macchiati went to Eintracht Frankfurt on loan. Roman Spender went to Leeds on loan. It was essentially a swap. They got him after we got Psycho Barbosa. Ibrahim Amawako went to Hearts of Oak down in Africa. Jean Machado went to Malaga. He should get a decent amount of playing time there. Juan Francisco Requena went to Real Murcia. Snad Spike is at Majadahonda. Philippe Segovia is at Marseille, and they're also paying an additional 135,000 euros a month, and they're covering his entire salary as well. Carl Hurst left on a free to Anderlecht. Jose Miguel Flexia went to Burgos on a free. Giovanni Lebert, who was a youth striker I brought him last year, Huddersfield bought him for 400,000 euros. It was one of those cases where they made the offer for him, and I knew he was never going to be a full-time starter here. The 4.5-star current ability, that's just, or the 4.5-star potential ability, it's just, I don't think it's going to happen, especially with some of these technicals being as low as they are. And it's possible if he gets a decent amount of playing time, sure, but he's going to a Sky Bet championship. He's going to a Sky Bet championship team now, and I don't know that he's going to get a lot of playing time, at least the next couple of seasons. So Ahmed Adel, we sold to Leganes for 2.9 million. Amin Slimani went to Newcastle for 9.25. I could regret this. He's 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. I probably got caught up in the fact that he's only a 2.5-star potential player. They're saying he's worth 30 million euros now, and chances are they might be right. But when he was with me, he was maybe worth not even half of that. I know he wasn't happy near the end of the season, and he wanted to move on. So, I mean, physically, he's solid. Technically, he's very, very good in the areas that count for the position he plays. And mentally, you know, he's okay. I don't know. It's one of the things I could regret. Ahmad Adel, or we already talked about that. Bogdan Konstantinovic was unhappy last season because he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. I got him a lot of playing time, and the more I looked at it, the more I realized I was never going to play an advanced midfielder in the center all that much. Now, he can play 5 other positions fairly well, but he wanted to move on, so I put him out there just to see what I could get for him. I don't know that I got value for him exactly. I mean, he came to us for 1.8. We turned around and sold him for 14.5 to Fulham, and they're saying he's worth 45 now. That's possibly because they're probably playing him at his natural position. Victor Okoro went to Lazio for $21.5 million. He was one of those guys I brought to play in the midfield and then just never got a lot of playing time. He came in on a free he came in for 1.5 million from Heartland in Nigeria. Had a bunch of loan spells to try and get better. He's now 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, 22 years old. He is a very good international player for Nigeria. 27 appearances, 5 goals. He went out on loan last year to Bordeaux, had a really solid season for them. Lazio came along and made an unsolicited offer for him for 21.5 million euros. And I'm stacked in the midfield. At least I think I'm stacked in the midfield. I got a lot of guys who can play midfield. How good they are, remains debatable. But I knew he wasn't going to get a lot of playing time here, so he moved on. Brighton came and made an unsolicited offer for Israel for 31 million euros, and I accepted it. For a guy we got for 2.8 from Real Betis, he had a couple of good seasons for us. 3 seasons ago, he had a season where he had 8 goals and 17 assists. It's one of those cases where I know he's not going to get any better mentally or technically, at least not significantly better, and I have better, younger options available, especially now that I signed Grasmov. Grasmov and Kleber are going to be fighting it out on the right most of the season. I suspect Grasmov will come out on top, but Kleber will play a role as well. And then last but not least, Barry Verdonk. Came to us on a free from Den Haag. Was a solid player there, played striker. I moved him out to winger, and he was pretty good for us. He did a decent job. He also stepped over and played striker a lot as well. He was part of that rotation here. In 128 games for us, he had 72 goals. So he was good for at least a goal every other game. A little bit better than that, but I think I've got better options on the left now. He's 27 years old. He's 4-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's not getting any better. He's not getting any worse. Who was it? One of the other Spanish teams. It wasn't Getafe because they got relegated. I'm totally drawing a blank on it now. You know what? I can take a look. Good grief. Sevilla, that's who it was. Sevilla made an unsolicited offer for him. I turned it down. He got upset because he didn't want to leave. Or he got upset because I didn't let him to at least talk to them. And I was like, okay, so I put him out there saying he's available for unspecified. Sevilla offered like 35, maybe 38 million or something like that. Barcelona came in with a huge deal offer. You know, and while I don't like to let players leave to a team within the division, Barcelona gave me the best money for him, and I wanted to kind of balance out. I wanted to bring this year's expenditure closer to 50-50. It's not going to happen. We'd have to sell a bunch of players that I don't want to sell in order for us to even come close to this 324 million. Like Roberto and or Maria would both have to leave in order for us to even come close, but I'm okay with that. Budget-wise, we've still got 169 million euros in the bank. We've still got a 72 million euro transfer budget. We've still got 800,000 euros to play with in the payroll budget. We're doing fine. And plus, at the end of last season, I know I mentioned it, we're getting a stadium expansion. We're expanding up to a 55,000 seat stadium at Jaen. So we're financially, we should be pretty good going forward. The season's gotten off to a very nice start. We went to Holland for training and had a couple of good matches against AZ and Dordrecht. I didn't play a lot of preseason matches. I don't want to wear the guys down. We got our season off to a flying start, a 3-2 victory against Valencia. Maria goal, Pereira goal, Hrvanica goal. And then against Osasuna, we shut them out 2-0 thanks to a brace of goals by Carlos Roberto. Today, we've gone 16 minutes. probably edit that down to 12 or 13. Today, we'll play Levante, but more importantly, it is the Champions League group stage draw. So let's get to that. And we, I want to say, are going to be second pot. Yeah. So, Group A, Benfica. Group B, Barcelona. Group C, Liverpool. Group D, Juve. Group E, PSG. Group F, Marseille. Borussia Dortmund's in Group Group G, looks like a 6. And Man City is Group H. Madrid goes to Group A. Monaco, Group B. Schalke, Group C. Man United, Group D. Inter, Group E. We are Group F with Marseille. Arsenal goes to Group G. Bayern goes to Group H. Copenhagen ends up in Group A. Milan to Group B. Celtic goes to Group C. Lille to Group D. TSG Hoffenheim to Group E. Porto goes to Group F. Lazio to Group G. And Real Betis goes to Group H. PAOK rounds out Group A. Zenit rounds out Group B. Red Star Group C. Vitesse Group D. Dinamo Zagreb rounds out Group E. Red Bull Salzburg rounds out Group F. So our group is Marseille, Porto, and Salzburg. Beşiktaş rounds out Group G. And that means Dynamo Kiev in the Ukraine, rounding out Group H. In other news, Laszlo Seferovic went to Real Madrid as their keeper. $17.25 million after a season at Galatasaray. 25 appearances, 23 goals allowed, 10 shutouts, 3 players of the match. And I think if we were to take a look at Real Madrid, he'll probably end up being their starting keeper. Because, well, unless they keep Jordi Hernandez up there. So I'm going to save the game here. I thought about playing Levante, but episode's kind of long already, and something tells me this is going to be one of those games where we're going to have 15 minutes of highlights and it end up being 1-0, and I really don't want to sit through that. What we are going to do, though, once the game is done saving, is probably go forward today and see when the Champions League games are, and then we'll determine who we're going to play after that. So we will be back in just a bit. And this worked out very well. We are going to come back for Marseille and Athletic Club. And then probably Porto Villarreal. We'll skip the first Red Bull Salzburg game, come back for Red Bull Salzburg, and then end up with Porto and Atletico Madrid. So some good chances. We got the Supercopa in January. The transfer window's closed. No one else is left. Everybody got registered without an issue. So that is what we are going to do. I'm going to play Levante and Malaga offline. And then next episode will be Marseille and Athletic Club. We will get our road to the Champions League underway. And we need to win it this season. That's the goal. We're winning the Champions League. The Champions League or bust. Which I suspect in Spanish is Champions League or bust or something real similar. 4 years of high school Spanish. You'd think I'd know that, but no. High school was so long ago. Good grief, I'm getting old. But I'd be interested in your feedback on the transfer window. I'd be interested in what you think of our chances going forward. If you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more content, questions, criticisms, comments. Leave those down below. I will answer this as fast as I can. I'm FM20, and I thank you for watching.